Today's topic is going to be a really good one. We're going to be talking about what happens when there is no cash. What happens when there is no way of paying for goods that we're needing. There's a lot of studies that came out that should be very worrisome for us because we are bad with money when it comes to the American people. And then the question is, what happens next? So let's jump into it today. I think it's gonna be a great video. I can't wait to share with you my thoughts on it because it pertains to everyday life and how we have to be either independent or dependent when it comes to how we pay for things, how we buy things. And we're going to even touch on CBDC. Let's jump into it today. This video starts right now.
Why does the rain always keep on pouring down when it's gray outside?
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It does help us stay in the algorithm and hopefully share a message that can be encouraging, but also to really see reality for what it is when we live in America. And it seems like we're going through a very, we have mountains and valleys. Right now I think we're in a valley, and we need to build strength, we need to build commonality, we need to build wisdom to help us get through it. So today's topic is what happens when we don't have any money? What happens when we don't have any cash? That is a big concern. Now let me go a little bit deeper when I say we don't have any money. We're to that point, but we're going to talk about how we got to that point, and then also what is our future. And this is all part of something that's a little bit more sinister, I think, personally, than what's on the surface. There was a study came out on Shift Gold. It said Americans are worried about credit crunch. What happens when consumers can't charge it? Now the reason we bring this up is because we've talked about the severity of people not having money. There was a survey done that said that in the last 2 years, from August 21 to now, Americans have ate away at $1.9 trillion worth of their savings. So when we talk about this economy, and we talk about Bidenomics, and we talk about the movement of inflation and interest and what it's costing the American people, $1.9 trillion of their own savings is now gone. Why is it gone? That's why I always say that inflation and interest, when we talk about inflation, inflation really is just a taxation that really government can help. They can enforce, they can fix. Remember, they're the ones printing the money. They're the ones causing the inflation. They're the ones causing the supply chain disruptions. Government is not supposed to supply the job. They're supposed to make the environment to better the job or make the environment more comparable for more jobs. Well, the problem is if we have a government that is now trying to compete in the market, meaning they're starting to pay people. You know, there's a jobs report that came out and said, hey, we've made a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs are being created. What they don't tell you is of those jobs, majority of them are public jobs, meaning that is government-made jobs. So when we get in this mindset that government can fix everything, then we are starting to put ourselves in a debt cycle like this where we lose all the cash, inflation is through the roof, and people can't just make it on their own paychecks anymore. $1.9 trillion of savings gone within 2 years of this economy. Well, that's no problem. If we can't have cash, what's the next best thing? Well, we look at plastic. We look at credit cards. Well, right now we went over $1 trillion just a few weeks ago in consumer spending with credit cards. We talked about the other day, 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Of that 70%, like 20% is fully delinquent on credit cards, meaning everything they're purchasing is on card, they can't pay the balance, and it's just climbing steadily. Interest rates are going up, so that means the card debt is not only going up because we can't afford the inflation and the cost, it's going up because the interest on it. So again, taxation on the lower and middle class because they're not able to afford what they need to buy, their wants and needs, especially their needs, and then now you're going on top of that with the interest of the credit card. It's a cycle that cannot be fixed. Here's why I say it's probably more of a plan than it actually is just happenstance. How does America work? It works on debt. Our whole monetary system since the 70s, and we got away from the gold standard, we've went on a debt-style economy. Everything maneuvers with debt. The people borrowed money, such as businesses, at lower interest rates. It was free money, so it allowed them to spend, make all these changes, all these jobs. Well, then when all of a sudden inflation goes back up, interest goes back up, and therefore all that money they borrowed now is ballooning, and they can't afford it. So businesses now are not having cash. Consumers now do not have cash. Credit cards are what they're relying on. Debt is what they're relying on. Now here is where it gets very shady very quickly. What happens when you max out these credit cards? What happens when you max out your limits and you're not able to borrow money anymore on the consumer side and the business side? I think what we're seeing is now we're getting to that point to where people can't borrow anymore. People can't afford the house they live in. People can't afford the vehicle that they're driving. People can't even afford their normal daily life needs they need, their necessities. So therefore, when debt gets too high, what happens? What happens when the businesses can't pay anymore? They can't pay their debts. We're seeing this not only in America, we're seeing this in China, we're seeing this across the world. People have gotten used to spending money because that has been our mentality. If we don't have the money, it's okay, we have the credit. Well, when we revolve around our whole economy being credit-based, one day that limit's going to run out. We're talking about a debt crisis here in the shutdowns for America. And guess what? They will extend this debt ceiling and they will borrow more money. I mean, we're paying for Ukraine's salaries. We're paying for their pensions. Do you not realize how stupid that is? We can't even have American people off the street. We can't even get American people having retirements and pensions and Social Security. We're not even going to talk about the problems with Social Security. And we're paying the pensions and the paychecks of the Ukrainian officials and the Ukrainian populace. Is that not the absolute stupidest thing you ever heard? What does that all mean? What does that all mean? When there's no more cash, there's no more credit, and that's how our economy makes it. Two things happen. We get into crisis. We get into dollarization crisis. We get into financial problems. Well, that means more people will then say, please help me. I need stimulus. I need subsidy. I need you to step in government and help me. That's just what they want. That makes a government get more powerful. That makes the government say, I can take away rights. I can do what I want because I know you need food. I know you need money. I know you need this new currency that's going to be such a good deal for you because for every dollar you give me, I'm going to give you, 4 CBDC. I can double, I could triple, I could quadruple your money and give you bonus money to help you out, to get you on this new system because it's gonna heal everything and fix everything. Remember, the government has never fixed anything. Most of the time, it's the private sector and it's entrepreneurship and capitalism that fixes the system, not a socialist-style, communist-style government. Please, pay attention to what's going on around you. The reason that you have a dollar crisis, the debt crisis, all that could be fixed with our government. But instead of being on gold-backed or commodity-backed money, we're on this debt-based money. On the value of the money is worth of the debt of America, the sovereignty of America. Well, if we keep having more and more crises, it allows people not to have money. And when they don't have money, because the inflation, the taxation on the lower and middle class, it is going to make for people to say, government, I need your assistance. That is true Bidenomics. It's working like it's supposed to. It's a socialized program. What did we do with medicine? Healthcare needs reform. Healthcare needs help. Healthcare needs help. And Republicans kicked it down the road because they didn't want to touch it. The Democrats kept pushing for major socialized medicine, and all of a sudden now you've got a socialized style medicine where government is sticking their neck out more, and you can't afford your insurance. And if you have insurance, it doesn't cover a lot. So all of a sudden, let's just get on the government plans. See how that does? The more and more the private sector is now having to compete with the government is always going to win because it has more resources. So therefore, if we're competing on interest and inflation, which can be controlled by the Fed, by the government, but they're not. They're going to tell you, well, we've got to go this way. It's a little crisis when you raise the debt limits because we got to help all these other countries. All the while, you have no cash. You have no means for credit, which you shouldn't be borrowing crazy amounts of money anyway, but you have no means for that to be taken care of. So therefore, you look and say, I need your help, government. I need whatever you're giving me. That's how easy CBDC will come in. And that's how you will take it. Now, not saying everybody will take it. I'm just saying if you're already desperate, it makes desperation in emergencies make for an easier situation. When my sheep are running the field and I start getting one out and then I get another out, the other ones get so paranoid because they're like, where's all my friends? Where are they at? Where can I get out? They find desperate ways to get out of that fence. They find desperate ways to get around me. Why? Because they're desperate and they're going to do everything they can to get out of that area with me. And they're going to find wherever they need to go, no matter what it costs them. They can run through a fence. They can cut themselves up. The whole purpose is they're desperate and they're willing to get away from me at all means necessary. think we're doing that same thing. We're so desperate that we're going to be longing, as America, longing for CBDC, because they're going to say, hey, we're going to give you all this benefit. Look at student loans. Well, we're going to give you a forgiveness. They're going to do that with your debts. They're going to do that with your cash. To get rid of cash, they're going to say, well, if you give me cash, I'll double, triple your money on CBDCs. And people are going to be lined up for it. It's amazing how much of sheep we really are. It's amazing how dumb we can be because we don't see what the government is doing to us and what they're doing to our paychecks, what they're doing with overtaxation, overregulation, all in the name of making our economy better. All the while, what they're doing is making you more slaves to the economy that they're building. Be careful, be wary, and you need to look and say, you know what? I don't need this. This is a want. Let's look at ways that I can save money. I've got to start putting up money. I got to start buying assets. I've got to start finding means and ways to get out of this debt cycle that they want to keep me in. If I'm in debt, I'm a slave to the lender, is what it says in the Bible. So focus around you. There is no more cash. 1.9 trillion gone from savings. Credit is getting too tough to either borrow money, even for businesses, so more businesses are crashing. They're bankrupting. The more we see the volatility in the climate of crisis, in the climate of our economy, the more the government can step in and say, I'm here to be your Superman. And that's what's scary. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. I want to know if I'm crazy for thinking that. I believe all these things with Bionomics is falling just into place like they want it to fall in place. The more you're in crisis, the more you need them. Now, I hope that's not the case. I hope we're wrong, and I hope people can understand that we can do this on our own. Government is supposed to make environments for the economy to do better. They're not supposed to provide everything we need. When we do that, we rely on them and we become a lords and serfs, full communist or socialist government. And I believe what we're going to see is our rights depleting over time. And remember, spiritually, things are not falling out of line, they're falling right in place. So I would challenge you to spiritually prepare. There's no reason that you're not seeking, for us, Jesus, because if this world is too tough to deal with on our own, and if we don't have some kind of basis there, if we don't have some kind of a thought pattern of saying, you know what, I know it's going to be okay because we spiritually are prepared and know that Christ is in control. If you have a family situation, you need to make that right. You need to make sure that you and your spouse, your husband, wife, that you are a team through this because times are already tough. The last thing you want to do is have marital problems because you have financial problems. So work together, strive together, do the best you can in this very volatile economy. The volatility is going to keep coming because the volatility brings crises. Crises brings more regulation. Stay strong, people. God bless. Happy homesteading.
Ooh, it makes me wonder.